Good evening and welcome to the Limited Adhesion GT3 League Season 6. This time we're in Japan at Okayama, a familiar track on the iRacing service. And we're going to be having an interesting race tonight as we try and get the GT3s fitted around this circuit. Joining me in the commentary booth once again is Random Dave. How are you this evening, Dave?
Yeah, I'm alright. Yeah, I'm on holiday in a couple of days, so I'm just rushing to get a million things done so that I can then go on holiday and sleep.
Well, hopefully at least you get time to recharge your batteries and join us back on course as well over the end of the season. We hope to see you there. So it is looking like 26 degrees with humidity at 55%, partly cloudy, not too much of a wind. Going to be interested to see how many people show up for this one. We haven't seen the GT3s, I think, around this circuit before, have we? As part of the Limited Adhesion, we have.
It was a long time. It was a long time ago, though.
It was a long time ago,
and it was. I think. I'm trying to remember now. I think I was on for a win with that one, but it all went pear-shaped. It was
as we see.
It was the one where it was the one where I flipped up in the air and took off into outer space. It was that one.
Memorable moment. As we see Ollie Walker's familiar livery there on the front, and he's also leading the championship standings in top split with 154 points, ahead of Evan Conception and David Lyne. Don Parker just behind David Lyne at the moment on 112 points. Stephen Maxwell, Mark Innes and Ollie Ettridge rounding out the familiar faces in that split. And Damon Mitchell leading the way in Club 1500 ahead of Mark Zeff. So it does look like those two are going to be battling it out for first position in the split for the remainder of the season. Simon Garau, Dan Hill, Chris White, Rich Meesters, Stu Gerber, Steve Pepper, Joe Barlow, Sean Clark round out the top 10 in that split, with Pepper, Benefield and Weaver rounding out the top 13. We've seen this track quite a few times on the iRacing service. It's actually quite popular with the open wheelers, I believe, with the F3s, even the old Radical. I remember being on the iRacing service. So this circuit is quite enjoyable. It also has a short track. As we switch to the championship standings, 4X Racing well out in front, ahead of Alpha Esports, the A Team and the Wizards filtering down through. We haven't seen much of the Risky Time boys. Hopefully they come back next season. And of course, I believe our compatriots in South Africa have had a bit of load shedding recently, which has affected their participation this season, but hopefully they'll be back over the summer when things get a lot better in terms of that. In the Club 1500, it's DSR 1-2, with DSR Orange leading the way on 199 points, 10 points ahead of DSR White. So it's still close between those two, with 722 Motorsport trailing behind in third. Progetto F, CC Racing, Wizards, Illusion, and another South African team just filling up the 7th position there at 65 points. We'll soon get to see who's going to be appearing on track this evening. We've got some new people. I believe this is Lewis. Actually, we've seen him last season, so welcome back, Lewis McManaman, joining us in the Merc. We've got Daryl Klotz, who's familiar from our Oval division, so welcome aboard, Daryl. Great to have you on board in a nice Lego livery. Hopefully it doesn't fall apart. That's interesting. We've got Evan Conception leading the way ahead of David Lyne, only roughly about 3 times ahead of David Lyne. So Rob Miller taking third, Steve Maxwell 4th and Ollie Walker 5th. Simon Garau takes pole position for the clubbers ahead of Mark Zeff. We've got Dan Shaw a little bit further down, as well as Ollie Ettridge a little bit further down as well. So that's interesting to see that Ollie's making a habit at the moment. He's not been getting those higher positions in qualifying. We haven't seen.
It's close though at the top. It's only half a second off, and like if you've just done a really good lap and you just getting off track, something like that, it's just half a second. But I think the interesting thing there is that if you look at the top of the clubbers, they're only half a second off as well. So it's really close across the whole field, really.
Yeah, and I believe, as Gareth was saying in one of the Lotus videos, kind of the top of the clubbers is starting to catch up with the kind of mid-pack of the top split.
Is that because the clubbers aren't doing official races? and they're developing sort of top split times without increasing their IR.
Potentially, that's a good theory behind that. And as we've seen, that was Ollie Etridge in the pit serving a kind of race penalty as Evan gets us underway down the home stretch. Now they're going to go single file into first corner. Miller makes a move down the inside of the line. Not too much position changes as of yet. They seem to get away fairly cleanly. Ollie Walker slips into fourth position. So good start by Miller there. And Evans just trying to break a little bit free, but I think he's going to find it quite hard. Simon McGraw diving in the inside of what looked like Dan Shaw. There's a couple of people falling down the order. We might see what happened to them. On board Mark Zeff, who's managed to move his way up to first position. So all single file now as they approach the ever famous Redman corner just down there. Quite a popular point for spinning and braking under turning the vehicle. Ollie Walker right behind David Line, trying to look for a small gap if he can poke the nose in. But David Line's got quite a nice line through there, protects the inside.
It's all about this corner. I noticed that people were complaining that you can't overtake here, but I just don't agree with that at all. There are 3 overtaking spots here, and the corners prior to those straights, that they generate a lot of errors. The last corner you can go wide there really easily. In all three of the straights, it's possible to make a little error on the exit of the corner beforehand.
Yeah. Interestingly, Evan Conception's broken away from Rob Miller, so that's quite a healthy gap he's managed to extend.
He had in qualifying, he had a few tenths up on everyone, didn't he? And then from Rob down to 5th or 6th, it was quite close.
It's a shame there isn't as many top split guys here this evening, but nonetheless it should be quite a close race given the kind of short length of the track. Damon Mitchell in third, so that is those top 3 in the clubbers seem to be battling throughout the season. So Mark Zeff, Simon Garral and Damon Mitchell, those are probably the top 3, not forgetting Dan Hill as well, he's been there or thereabouts. Ollie Walker just can't find a way through at the moment. Just getting a little bit slidey out on the exit.
He's just got to hope that Line makes a little bit of an error here, which is quite easy to do right there. Oh look, he's probably got that.
Yeah, he's pushed as far wide as possible without getting on the gravel. He's going to get his nose tucked inside, and it looks like it's going to be job done unless. Yeah, Line's managed to fit inside. He's going to have Stephen Maxwell right behind him as well. He's got him to think about. Zeff under attack from Simon Garral as well in the clubbers, so if we can just see right behind them. Do you think, Dave, there's any particular favourite or preferred car for this type of track?
I heard from Ollie that it's really between the Audi and the Lambo, probably slightly favouring the Audi.
Yeah, I would agree. They're kind of more lightweight to get around these kind of corners. I believe the BMW is going to feel a little bit like turning an HGV around there, as we see Ollie Etchers dive down the inside of the hairpin. The top 3 of the clubbers bunching up. And that was mighty close from Damon Mitchell. It's quite a funny pit entrance here, and you can get penalised quite heavily if you don't take the correct line. So we'll have to watch out for that as the pit stops take place.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Last time I raced here, I didn't realise which which one was the pit entry. Went for the later one.
Yeah, and here it looks like the start on board Evan Conception. Kind of fairly even between the 18 boys.
It's Rob mugging line there.
Yeah, at the inside. Line does well to keep Ollie Walker at bay there. In fact, that was great defending just on the outside. This is James Pepper. Oh, he's got on the grass. Taken out, I think that was White. Possibly a couple of others have had to react to that. Whoa, and almost taken out Dan Hill in the process as well. I think that might have been McManaman hitting the back of Pepper, Steve Pepper. So not a good start for the Peppers there.
Yeah, Ollie straight on Rob here. It's funny. It's funny that his qualifying was it was off, because he seems to have the more pace than maybe the equivalent to Evan there. Mind you, Evan's 3.5 seconds in the lead now. Yeah, the horse is bolted from the stable now, but at least we've got a race on with from second to fifth really. So 29.3. That's absolutely rapid from Evan. I mean, I don't know, with the rate that Ollie's catching Rob there, I'd say if Ollie can get past Rob quite quickly here, he's still in the running.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we can't count out Dan Shaw. He's not too far behind this lot, so if they start battling, he might actually work his way through the clubbers. He'll be there as well. Steve Maxwell on board, looking at the back of David Line.
It's a little wobble from Ollie there ahead, so he's not going to be getting past Rob on this straight.
Yeah, that's kind of disadvantage in the line, but it does get a little bit tail happy under braking. White in the pits, so I guess he had a bit of damage from that collision. Still quite a decent battle going on here in the clubbers for first place. Simon Garau is still holding on to second place at the moment.
So this track has some pretty good corner names. It kind of has a mixture of good corner names and really bad ones, because the first one's called First Corner, and the last one's called Last Corner. But then you've got Mike Knight Corner.
Yeah, I was looking at that prior to coming onto the commentary, and I'm wondering who's Mike Knight. I haven't actually bothered to look, but
I just assumed it was just not Knight Rider. Thought it was the Hoff.
It could well be. I mean, the Japanese circuits, they do tend to have either boring names or absolutely fantastic
They
ones.
do really like the Hoff in Japan.
Yeah.
Hasn't he? No, it's Germany, isn't he? That he's got like a massive fan base. But I bet you anything, his records sell really well in Japan.
Absolutely. We've heard that scoop here first. For all you Hoff fans, Ollie Walker trying to make a move. Is he going to get this done past Rob Miller?
It's done.
Yeah, he's got it around. I think Rob didn't want to challenge too much there.
Well, once when somebody's that close and you feel like they've just got their nose, behind your rear wheels, then what can you do?
Yeah,
it's got to let them drive past. If they catch you early.
Yeah,
that's close.
Yeah, that was very close between Line and Maxwell. Almost the same happening, where Maxwell could get his nose tucked in there. Looks like Line's got enough pace on exit. This is bringing in Mark Zeff from the clubbers behind here, so he's actually catching up with these as they start battling.
I think Line got a slightly better exit there though, so got away with it.
Yeah, it's all about trying to make that corner as wide as possible.
I think Steve went wide there.
Yeah, it looked like he just got a little bit wayward.
And well offline there. Yeah.
Tyres are probably toasted, and that's into the gravel trap for Maxwell. That's not what he wanted. That's allowed Shaw to pick up a place. Back with this battle for the clubbers, and it looks like Garau and Mitchell are working together now, trying to catch up to Zeff. They can see that if they work together, they will be able to challenge him. So that has left the top 4 of Top Split now to break away. Evan is well and truly out in front, and Ollie Walker is starting to make moves of his own.
See, Lyon's got a little bit of breathing space now, so yeah, we'll see if he makes any inroads on Miller.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's an interesting line from Damon Mitchell there, just trying to put himself in the mirrors. And yeah, that's the thing with the BMW, it can get a little bit slidey at this track. Hopefully he hasn't burned his tyres too much. Don't forget, if you want to join some of our races towards the end of the season, you're more than welcome. You can sign up via Discord, the link will no doubt be in the description, and you can check out more of our videos on the YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe if you're enjoying our racing. Oh, and that's Dan Hill off in the background. That was a pretty advent. I guess he forgot his braking point there. He's managed to keep it in one piece. It keeps going. Yes, Dan just seems to be off the pace from the front 3 today, but he is certainly up there in terms of the top performers in the clubbers this season. Yeah, Mr. Conception well out in front, enjoying a nice Sunday drive.
Yeah, I mean, since Ollie overtook Rob, he's not closed that gap, but he's sort of maintained it, hasn't he? Lyon's closing in on Miller a bit.
Yeah, that's dropped down to about 8/10. Be interesting to see how the pit stop plays out, whether there'll be any time to be gained through the pit entrance. So as we enter into about the quarter of the race, Conception leads from Walker, Miller, Line, Shaw, Maxwell and Ettridge are the top split standings, and then for the clubbers it's Zeph, Garau, Mitchell, who we're seeing on the screen right now, and then it will be Dan Hill, Klotz, McManaman, Pepper, and it looks like White has dropped out from the race. Yeah, that gap between Miller and Line is gradually decreasing.
Yeah, I think on the last lap, I think Conception did a lap a little bit faster than everybody else, but then it was pretty close between Walker and Lyons at similar laps. Miller a little bit off as well.
Yeah. Plenty of space in this track if you encounter lap traffic. There's plenty of places for the lap traffic to kind of pull over. We might not see that until later in the proceedings, but it's not a particularly tight track. It's interesting, these front 3 aren't really trying to make moves on each other at the moment, so it's a bit of a tactical display.
Lyons, that's Miller in the wall.
That's Miller in the wall. How did that happen? You can see a replay of that. He's coming on to the racing line. Dan Hill just spots him at just in time.
Oh, that's a toe job. It's crabbing.
That'll be a very lengthy lap if he was to attempt that. And indeed he does toe. Yeah. Wow, and that's it. Oh, it's a very, very late lunge there, but I think it's 50-50. And Dan Shaw's right behind him as well as we actually go on board Dan Shaw.
So if you've got the inside line here, it's this. You've got it really.
Yeah, Dan Shaw just easing off, which is a very sensible thing to do.
Wow!
Was there a gap?
Well,
it's difficult to see from that
angle. That's a bit of a tricky one. Yeah, I'd like to see that from drivers' viewpoints, because it looked like there was a gap, and then maybe it was. I'm not quite sure if that was a racing incident or not.
Yeah, we couldn't quite see from that angle, but both are still alive and well, so still to race on. That has given Mark Zeff a 3.5 second lead.
It looked to me from that viewpoint that Mitchell went deep and left a little gap that Corral tried to get into, but then he closed it at the last second, in which case, I'd probably call it an RI.
Yeah, definitely. That was Stephen Maxwell making a move on Dan Hill, so he's going to have a bit of breathing space to crack on. Dan Hill still sitting in 4th. The other Dan Shaw is probably waiting to get past. Ooh.
Well,
what happened there?
Well,
that was,
I mean,
that was very
shoved him off. Looked like.
Yeah, looked like a very competitive move. Like he was trying to gain kind of slipstream from that, but came into the braking zone.
Sort of like a bump draft gone wrong.
Yeah, usually only see those in the next gen cars. So as we see a replay of James Pepper, what happened to him? Too much grass, too much gravel, and into the barrier. That's crabbing as well. That's a trip to the pits. I wonder if he overheated his tyres on a. That's Chris White flashing his lights. He probably knew he was going to be in replay there. Stephen. And that's 2 cars off. I think just kind of got confused and followed the trend. And I think he had already been in the pits, and I think he decided to call it a day. Yeah, kind of just mimicking what James Pepper did a moment ago. So I think that's his race over. What's happened to Mark Zeff here? This was a Maxwell indeed. That was Maxwell's spin. Yeah, too deep for Dan Hill. Maybe a little bit too confident in the braking ability of the BMW.
I mean, I've noticed you say about, and also I think Don was saying as well about like, doing some sort of manoeuvre that makes you overheat your tyres really quickly, and then that causing you, problems immediately afterwards. But I mean, I've heard other people say that, but I've never really felt that. I never. When I go off slightly or take the wrong line, something like that, everything just feels normal to me, but maybe I'm just not sensitive to it.
Yeah. And as we've seen there, Rob Miller taking a gardener's approach to Okayama, straight across the grass and into the gravel, so he was really pushing the car, feeling the pressure from the line, and that's how he ended up into the pits.
Is he it goes wrong there, he gets a nasty bounce, he goes out there. Yeah, it's unusual. Normally, I mean, it's easy to make a mistake there, but it's unusual that it ends up in the wall there.
Yeah.
It's just the way he caught it.
Yeah, and this was a adventurous line from Damon Mitchell. He did manage to get the anchors down.
Well, he understeered a little bit wide, and he understeered a bit there. There you go.
Yeah.
But, a little bit rubbing at that point. Yeah. But yeah, I'd like to see this, because it wasn't clear from the camera angle we were looking at before. So, yeah, he goes a little bit deep. Yeah, there wasn't really enough of a gap.
Yeah, there wasn't a card's worth in there, I don't think.
No.
I think he was almost. I think someone was almost anticipating for him to go wide.
I think because he saw him going deep. I think he thought he was going to go deeper than that, and he didn't. He was not deep enough for an overtake.
Yeah, can't really explain that incident. It looks like it was a little bit bad timing, because I think there's a little bit of a turn on the straight there.
I mean, let's look at this, because I mean, you don't expect somebody to go flying off like that, do you? When you bump them a little bit from behind. I mean, I guess it wasn't on a straight, was it? There's a little bit of a turn to it, so best not to. You can kind of do it in a practice session or something, down the straight without sending somebody off, but yeah.
So after all that action, we've got a front three now of Conception, Walker and Line. Conception's managed to extend that to 5.7 seconds now. And Line is approximately 4 seconds behind Walker.
Yeah, I mean, let's take a look at those gaps. So Walker is falling more behind Conception, so I think Conception's just running and hiding here. It's his race to lose, but I guess that's in the top split really. I mean, it's just, I guess let's just keep an eye on that time of 4 seconds between Walker and Line. See if that changes.
Yeah, I'm just looking at Damon Mitchell. He seems to take quite strange entry lines. I'm wondering if he's struggling with the weight transfer with the car here. He's taking very narrow lines, but as we've seen into the hairpin as well. But perhaps he's just more comfortable with it. As we see Dan Shaw, he's probably going to look to try and get past now. Yeah, so lap times are approximately in the low 130s for the top three, and then the late 130s for the top of the clubbers now. Simon Garau taking his fastest lap of the race so far. Yes, that's a shame. Rob Miller out of the race.
Yeah, it doesn't leave too many in the top split to entertain us, is it really? So
yeah, it's kind of the challenge is kind of gone now, but nevertheless, Mark Zeff needs to keep it clean, as he will have Damon Mitchell trying to catch back up with him. Dan Hill up to third position, of course. Daryl Klopp's actually up to fourth, so he's doing quite well on his debut. Can't forget him. In fact, Daryl's made up 5 positions, so top winner of that competition so far.
It's quite a slow lap from Conception. I don't know if he was lapping somebody. About 4/10 off Walker and Line.
Yeah.
And Zeph.
Yeah, it's fairly even lap time wise at the moment between most drivers. Not much to choose from.
So championship wise then, I think it's a 2-horse race here, isn't it? I think after this race, taking into consideration drop scores, Ollie had a bad race, didn't he? Terrible race at Bathurst, didn't he?
Yeah, he did really. Shocker by his standards. Yeah.
So, I think it's on between the two of them, and then it's kind of a bit of a fight for third after those two, really.
Yeah, I guess Line, perhaps Don Parker, if he returns for the last couple of races, definitely he'll have a shout as well. In the clubbers, it's definitely down to probably Zeph and Damon Mitchell. They've been pretty consistently up at the top spots all season.
I mean, what's happened to Ollie Ettridge in this race though? Look, he's sort of 24 and a half seconds off the lead at the moment, and that's something must have gone wrong.
He started from the pits, so I'm wondering if he's got caught in traffic in various incidents.
Yeah, but look, he's a fair way behind Hill there.
And Maxwell, yeah, definitely. Yeah, it'd be interesting to know what happened to him. hopefully we get his teammates back for next season. Of course, we're missing Steve Greening, Michael Messenger, and of course the duo of Rick Barrow and Lee Harding. Haven't seen too much of them this season. It'd be great to have them back.
So Lyons caught up a little bit on Ollie there. It was 4 seconds, now 3.5 or so.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, obviously, if Ollie was in the lead, you'd say, well, he's probably doing loads of fuel saving, right? But I wouldn't have thought he would do. You know, I think he would be just gunning for a win, surely.
Yeah, and especially at a track so short, the economy of fuel saving here doesn't kind of really balance out, I don't think. As Lewis McManaman comes out of the pits, I'm not sure if that could be a scheduled stop. As he gets underway, he's just going to come out in front of Damon Mitchell.
So Maxwell set a 29.8 on that lap, which is faster than anybody in front.
Yeah, he's picked the pace up a little bit. In fact, he's almost latched back onto Dan Shaw. He's only 1.5 seconds or so behind.
Yeah, I think that's our closest battle at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And Lewis letting those guys go past. In fact, that Maxwell has a car between him and Shaw, so he's going to have to get past that one before he can reach Shaw. Oh, and who's that? That's James Pepper in the wall. Slight crabbing there as well. Might have to go into the pits. As they go through Redman Corner. And Damon Mitchell looking to take his scheduled stop right on the limit of the pit entrance there. Gets a break just in time.
That's quite an early one, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Perhaps he's put in half fuel. That's allowed Dan Shaw a bit of space to kind of stretch his legs.
Yeah, there's a bit of a sort of a top split sandwich going on there.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, that's let Maxwell past.
Yeah, I think he's now got a clear run. So it's going to be interesting to see how quickly Maxwell can catch up here. Break very late there, Dan Shaw.
He's been very patient, hasn't he? He's been behind, you know, quite a lot of goings on in with the clubbers, you know, very fast clubbers, but he's just been sitting there, not forcing the issue too much. But now he's got Maxwell definitely on his arse. He needs to get on with it.
Yeah, I think now he can show the pace. It's Lewis McManaman is off track, so I guess he's had a bit of a slide. Hopefully he hasn't picked up any damage. Yeah, here's Ollie Etchers, we haven't seen too much of this race.
I for some reason I still can't recognise Ollie's car. It just isn't recognisable to me. In that paint job.
Yeah, by habit you would expect it to be
orange risky, right?
Yeah, we're so grown used to seeing the orange livery.
So I mean, earlier on I was saying I wonder what happened to Ollie, and I think it's quite possible that I watched him go off and just forgot that was Ollie's.
Yeah, quite possible. Yeah, absolutely. As he sets a 1:30.7. Oh, in fact, he's gone quite wide there. Managed to keep it on the track.
Yeah, and you know Mitchell's not hanging about. He was leading the clubbers, setting top split times. So you know he's setting faster times in the 30.7, but that way.
Yeah, and his teammate James Pepper having another issue at that corner. That was why he went into the wall. It does tend to kind of, especially in the BMW, and it seems to have crabbed a little bit. This is Simon Garau, replay of him just getting a little bit squirmish. Oh, and he's hit the wall as well. That's a shame because he had already had an incident. But back to Ollie Ettridge and Damon Mitchell. It's going to be interesting if Ollie's going to try and make a move on Damon here, or whether they're going to be lapping similar times and it's not worth the effort.
Line's down to 2.8 behind Walker now.
Yeah, it's really closed in. So, I wonder what's happening with Ollie Walker, whether this is intentional or he just can't find the pace, or Line's found a bit of pace on him. That gap between Shaw and Maxwell's now down to a second. So, slowly but surely closing in. And I suspect they will be entering the pits in the next 3 or 4 minutes. Nice corner speed there from Dan Shaw.
Yeah, it kind of seems to me that, you know, obviously we have seen Rob Miller go off and Maxwell as well, but the difference between the top of the top split and the top of the clubbers is less about pace and more about kind of just the number of mistakes, really. But the outright pace seems, you know, pretty close.
Yeah, definitely. Everybody's, especially from the clubbers, learns from other drivers, watching how they take their lines and where they can improve. It definitely helps when you have that community to learn from. Now, I guess some of the drivers use like the Garage app to kind of learn on the telemetry, don't they?
Yeah, I started using telemetry maybe several months ago or so, and I think it does help to gain 3 or 4 tenths or so, I reckon. Just kind of helps. You know, obviously quite a lot. I mean, I look at telemetry versus some like IR 8,000 person, right? Like, and you look at it and go, you know, I'm kind of just, you know, after you've worked at loads, you kind of look at it and go, I'm losing everywhere a tiny amount, and it just all adds up, right? But that's where you get to. But when you first look at the telemetry, like you kind of see, oh, those are a couple of areas there which I'm way off, and if I just work on those, then I'll gain half a second, you know.
As we've seen Darrell Plotz take his pit stop for the race. That seems to be a scheduled one. Ollie Ettridge was flashing his lights at lap traffic. He's keen to get by and stick with Damon Mitchell. Dan Shaw, he's coming in for one round, another lap. Line setting his fastest lap, 29.8, so he's started to really close in on Ollie Walker. It's down to 2.2 seconds. Maxwell just showing himself in Dan Shaw's mirrors. I'm coming for you. I suspect they will be coming into pit either at the end of this lap or next. Will Dan Shaw be able to keep ahead until the pit stops? We'll soon find out. That gap is ever closing, as well as the gap between Walker and Line. No move yet from Stephen Maxwell.
Well, I mean, you know, we've been watching Shaw a little bit here, and he, you know, his pace is not up there with the top split at the top three of the top split at the moment, but he seems quite solid. Like he's not making, you know, errors. He's you know, going at a good kind of steady pace. So it's not going to be any easy overtakes. He's yeah, I don't think he's making very many mistakes.
Yeah,
He looks comfortable.
Yeah, he's got good car control, which is pretty handy around this track where, especially cars like the Lambo can kind of whiplash you out.
It's no, not quite enough.
Yeah,
It was tight though. I would have gone to the inside there. I think he was getting very, very confident not covering that off.
he's right on his tail now, but yeah, that was probably a wise decision from Stephen Maxwell not to throw it down into turn 1. Hangs on for another day. Gap between Line and Walker now just approaching 2 seconds.
Yeah, it's strange. I mean, it's possible that Ollie's trying. It doesn't add up for him to be fuel saving here as a move on conception, because he's falling far behind, right? Like so that's not really going to saving a couple of laps of fuel. Is that it's not going to gain in 7.5 seconds, is it?
No,
unless he could no stop it. So it's it's a bit odd, because he was at the beginning of the race he was he just drove past Rob and Line, but now he's a little bit off Line and Conception.
Yeah, as we've seen Steve Pepper enter the pits for his scheduled stop, and Maxwell pits as well. So I assume he's took his tank up until empty, unless he tried to undercut. Nice shot of the entry and exit of the DSR duo of Zeph and Pepper. So that's Mark Zeph coming out. Dan Hill is taking the lead, but I believe he's still to stop. So take the glory while it lasts. Dan, you're in first. Still managed to eke out an extra lap. It'll be interesting to see where Mitchell comes in place of Zeph. So it's 6.2 seconds or so. And here's Damon Mitchell. And he's gonna have Maxwell on his tail as well again. Yeah, this is what happened to Ollie Etheridge. A bit of traffic coming out of the pits, a little bit too hot. Stopped it well though, didn't he, Dave?
Yeah.
Got a hidden handbrake somewhere.
There you go.
It's very easy to kind of get onto the gravel and it just throws you away. So Line enters pits from third. Maxwell's going to get held up here.
Yeah, so this I mean, he was he looked like he was challenging there. But against Shaw, but I mean, it's going to be hurting him. I mean, I say it's going to be hurting him, but Mitchell's been really very fast. So, but I mean, I think he's losing a few tenths there.
Yeah.
The undercut doesn't look like it's going to work there.
Yeah, there's Dan Hill entering as well, so that by default puts Mark back in the lead. He's going to have quite a healthy lead over Mitchell, who we can just see in the background. Pushing that to the limit, so it's about 6 seconds or so, 6.5 seconds it says on the leaderboard there. Dan Shaw still going round, so he's still managed to eke out 2 laps extra. I assume that might be due to how much fuel can be held within the car, because Maxwell's in the Audi and Shaw's in the Lambo, but I thought they maybe had similar fuel tanks, but I might be mistaken. It is Evan pits now.
I think there can be a little bit of difference between people's driving styles and how much overlap they tend to use between throttle and brake, and that can make a bit of difference, and then sometimes that gets exaggerated because of quantization, if you see what I mean. How we have it where
it
falls on the lap. It's like, well, it's 2 laps, but really it was 1.1 laps.
Stephen Maxwell desperate to get round. He's trying to show the nose It's very difficult to get on the power early there. You don't want to oversteer into the wall, as we've seen a couple of drivers do so far. He might have the one now. Oh, he won't now.
No.
He's oversteered back in. Oh, and Ollie Escher's done the same. Ah, he was closing in on Maxwell as well. That's gonna...
what's going on? Somebody put some oil down there or something?
Yeah, it looks like someone's came out and chucked some oil on the track, and that's Lewis McMahon got it wrong as well. Benny Hill theme music ensues. So Dan Hill in third. He's got quite a large gap to fourth, so that's pretty much cemented his position. So Ollie Walker should be coming into pit. Indeed he does. Slows it right down. Still got his Bathurst livery on.
Yeah, I mean, let's see. So he did save quite a lot of fuel there, didn't he? Just so did Shaw, but
yeah, and Dan Shaw taking it right to the limit. I hope he didn't get a penalty for that entrance. This is Evan. He will regain the lead.
What was Walker, like 8 seconds behind Evan or so, something like that?
Yeah.
But I think
here's David. Yeah, here's David Lyon in the background there.
Oh, that's, yeah. I mean, what Walker going along like that has gained on Evan, but yeah.
That's Dan Shaw in the pit, so I think that might be for an unsafe pit entrance. You did see him just get outside of that yellow entrance line, so that might have been picked up upon by the stewards. Ollie Etru's enters for his scheduled stop.
That's a bit of a shame, really, because that looked like it was going to be a good battle between Maxwell and Shaw. But
yeah. Now Maxwell doesn't have anything to worry about. Shaw's had a penalty, and Etru's had a bit of a spin and pit stop now, so almost a clear road if you can get ahead of Mitchell.
Yeah, I mean, let's see. I mean, Mitchell doesn't have to give way here, but yeah, he doesn't make it too hard. Yeah,
wise decision there. So that gap between Conception and Walker now down to 3.4 seconds. Be interesting if Walker now tries to apply the pressure. Yeah, this is what happened to Ettridge. That's really weird because he didn't even clip the inside as well, avoided.
Yeah, I don't know how you do that. Is it like, I don't know, wrong gear? I don't know, but there we go again. It's oil. Must be oil.
It must be oil. iRacing haven't added rain yet, but they've seen that oil spillage is in the service now.
I think Bernie Eccleston's been out there with his sprinkler.
Yeah, so let's keep an eye. In fact, there's not going to be much time left, so it's too little too late in terms of trying to close the gaps. There's only going to be a couple of laps left, if that. That's went fairly quick. Top three Conception Walker line are pretty much cemented. Zeph has got quite a gap to Mitchell, so he's going to pretty much pick up the win here for the clubbers. Yeah, it seems, according to the standings, pretty much everyone is all spaced out. There's Dan Hill. He's had a solid performance today. Nothing special, but a good haul of points coming his way. Haven't seen his teammate Joe Barlow this round, but he might be. I assume he's going to be back at Sebring, which is our next race. This could be the white flag lap for Conception as he just crosses the line. Solid performance from Mark Zeff. Hasn't really put a foot wrong today.
So who's your money on then? Evan or Ollie to win a championship?
It's difficult because Conception he's found a bit of form recently, and with Sebring coming up, which I would assume he's pretty good at being from across the pond in America. I tend to find the Americans know that track like we would know Silverstone, essentially. So I'm going to say Conception's going to have a late charge, but Walker might just pick him.
I'm gonna. I mean, could go either way, but I think Evan really wants to win it, and I mean, it's really about him versus Ollie. I think there's a couple, one or two that I think he could have won that he didn't. So my money's on Evan marginally. So I'm willing to take a monetary bet there if you're willing to go for Ollie.
You heard it here first. We're going to have a monetary bet. I'll keep to my word there, Dave. We can have that.
How much then? Here it is.
We'll do the typical tenner.
Yeah, right, let's go for a tenner then.
Yeah.
I'll put a tenner on Evan.
There we go. Gentlemanly. That was Ollie flashing lights as Conception takes the win. Ollie Walker coming in second. Pretty uneventful race for those guys, and Line taking third. Mark Zeff takes the win from the Clubbers. He thoroughly enjoys that. Well done, Mark. Great drive. And Damien Mitchell takes second from an eventful race on his behalf, with Maxwell taking fourth in the top split. Dan Hill takes the final podium position in the Clubbers. Well done, Dan. Nice drive. As that rounds things up here at Okayama. So well done, Evan. Great win. Don't think you were challenged too much this time round, and it's going to be an interesting race next time at Sebring, which is going to be our endurance race. Be sure to check out that. Do you think anyone can challenge at Sebring? You got any favourites for our next race, Dave?
Well, it's Evan or Ollie, really.
Yeah.
In the top split, in the Clubbers. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to go for Mitchell.
Yeah. I might go for that as well. Being again, I believe he's American, so he might have the kind of advantage there. As we see the cars make their way back to the pit lane, everyone going around once again, taking all the glory. So the 991 car takes a win here at Okayama, doing donuts in celebration. Well done, Evan. So the remaining races for the season are at Sebring, as we've just discussed. We've got on the 9th of April will be the Red Bull Ring, and the final race will be at Road Atlanta the 23rd of April. So here are the standings for the race at Okayama that we've just witnessed. Evan Conception taking the win ahead of Ollie Walker, David Line, Maxwell, Shaw, Ettridge and Miller. It was a shame about Rob's incident that took him out of the race, with Mark Zeff taking the win in the Clubbers ahead of Mitchell, Hill and Pepper there. And lovely delivery of Ollie Walker taking the highlight there. So Ollie Walker just out in front at the moment. As we discussed, it's going to be pretty close between those two, between Ollie and Evan. David Line, Stephen Maxwell, who's made a late charge, and Dom Parker, who we hope to see next time round. Ollie Ettridge, Mark Innes, Greening, Shaw, Miller, Harding, Gerber, who we didn't see this time round, Lee, Messenger and Barrow make up the 15 of the top split. Again, that's one we can't count out, is Dom Parker, because he's done quite a lot of endurance racing actually, so we have to keep an eye out for him.
He's dropped a couple of he dropped a couple of races as well, so I mean a win overall in the championship seems like a long shot. Don't think it's mathematically impossible yet, but top three definitely.
Yeah, definitely. So Damien Mitchell out in front on 204 points ahead of Mark Zeff, so it is going to be very, very close between those two next time round. Dan Hill takes third ahead of Simon Garral, Chris White, Pepper, Meisters, Gerber, Pepper and Barlow round out the top 10. Sean Clark we didn't see this time around. Lewis McManaman, we had his debut this season. And 4X Racing taking the championship pretty much tied up for that already, ahead of Alpha Esports with the A team in third. I would expect the A team possibly going to overtake Alpha Esports ahead before the end of the season.
It will depend whether Rob turns up. He's very busy fixing the Mercedes, I think. Mercedes F1 car, making it win the championship. He hopes.
Good luck to Rob in his adventures there.
He's not doing it on his own though. Like there's obviously other people in the Mercedes F1 team doing that. It's not just Rob. Not just Rob.
Damn! I just imagined him running around the garage with Lewis Hamilton,
toiling away
staring at him
with his spanner and his hammer.
With a spanner, doing all sorts. So that rounds everything up here at Okayama. We hope you enjoyed the race, and join us next time round at Sebring for a 2-hour endurance race, which will be interesting. So from Japan, it's goodbye from me and goodbye from Dave.
Is it Konnichiwa? I can never pronounce it.
Konnichiwa,
That's the one. Yeah.
Konnichiwa wa arigato. Bye for now.
Good night.